We are about to learn animation in Photoshop, and it's a great tool to be able to create basic animated GIFs. But before we can start to animate, we actually have to understand how we can access some of those tools. So we are going to go in Photoshop with a document open to the Window menu, and then right down here to Timeline. So once you click on Timeline, you're going to have a new panel open up. This panel actually, you can make it grow. Just so you guys know, sometimes, especially if you've never used animation, there may be a button here that you need to basically select that you can create a frame animation, which is a pretty common way that we're going to be able to create animations for our upcoming project. So once you learn how to access that timeline panel, we are going to take a few steps forward and understand how animation works in Photoshop. So we do have some that are already created, so before we actually go through the motions of creating the animation, I do just want to talk about a few things. So when we animate a file or elements in a file, we actually have to have some graphic elements inside of our animation. So you will see I have a bunch of layers here. We have a lot of cool things in this timeline panel that I'm going to be able to play our animation once it's created. So for instance, this is just a rocket ship that kind of takes off. So that is something that you do want to have created before you actually animate, is having all of your visuals or graphics or perhaps images inside of your file so you're ready to go. The way it usually works with frame by frame animation is that we're going to hide and show layers. So you'll basically see that as we start going through frames, they kind of seem like they're layers, but they're not. It's just a sequence in time. So each one is basically going to last over a second, and we're going to show a new layer. So if you're watching the layers panel at the same time, and I'll go back through this one more time, if you watch this layers panel right here, you will watch how some will show or hide, and they'll just show up on screen. So we'll talk more about how all of this works in terms of setting it up shortly. But I do just want to just point out that this timeline panel does have a lot of features for us to be able to play our animations, to delete frames, to move forward, and then also various things that we'll get into in the next video. So I hope this helps you out. You do need to make sure you understand how to access this timeline panel before we get started in actually animating.